This morning when I woke up, I was thinking for some reason, like right off the bat about Paint and Talk, and I'm like a little bit, I guess, I mean, the word that I want to say, it sounds harsh, but it's just like dissatisfied with the level of progress I've made in this series. Not the paintings themselves, but progress in terms of like upping the quality for you guys. Like I feel as if when I started Paint and Talk, I had this thought in mind of like, oh, if I'm doing this every day, imagine how good I'll be at speaking and at, the camera work and at all these things by episode X, episode 50, episode 100, whatever that may be. And I was like, oh man, like I really haven't done that to the degree I want to. There's still a level of truth to that statement, I think, that I wish it was more. But in my head this morning, I was thinking like, wow, I've made no progress at all. Like I'm the exact same level I was during episode 1. And then I kind of sat back and I watched the most recent episode. I watched episode 1. And then episode 1 was better. But then I was like, I recorded episode 1 like 4 times. I was really nervous for that episode, so I recorded a bunch. Really didn't matter that much looking back. But then I watched episode 2, and I watched a little bit of episode 3, and I was like, wait, like I definitely have progressed. It's just kind of invisible. And I think that's what I want to come here today and talk about, is progress is often really sort of invisible. I think like what's interesting, it almost works like aging, like have you guys ever seen somebody after, actually I don't even have to ask, I know you have, everyone's gone through this, right? Where you see somebody after like maybe a year, 2 years, especially when you're growing up, like once you get to like a certain age of like, 19 through like early 20s, you kind of look the same more or less. But like when you're growing up, you'll encounter somebody and they'll go, oh my God, you look so different, or you look so old. Or something that would happen to me a lot is like somebody like, oh, you look like you lost a ton of weight. And I'd be like, oh, like I wasn't trying to do that, or I feel like I look the same. And I think we've all gone through this of like, I look exactly the same as the last time I've seen me. One of us is crazy right now. And I mean, the fairly obvious, I think, comparison here is progress is the same way, where like you feel like you haven't come very far, and maybe sometimes you haven't. I'm not going to sit here and be like, no matter what, you've progressed. That's just not realistic now, is it? But oftentimes the fact of the matter is that like you've progressed just so slowly or so steadily that you didn't notice it. Like you've just been doing, not thinking so much about like, how much better is this than yesterday, that you're getting better, but you're not even, it's not conscious, and I think that's kind of awesome. I've never used a thinned out yellow before, and this is the first time using it with mineral oils. That's interesting. It's kind of just yellow still. It's really not that different. But progress is the same way. I think it's so easy to lose track of it for that reason. Like, it's really easy to look at yourself and be like, I have accomplished nothing, because you've just been doing, and you don't, especially I feel like Paint and Talk, recording these, and I did a lot of meta talk yesterday too. I really gotta stop doing this. It's like really convenient, right? Because I get to go and be like, have I progressed? And go literally look at a recording of me, 72 days ago, and go, oh, I have a little bit. That's cool. Like I get to do that. But like, what if it's something where it's like, you can't measure it? Like what if your goal is, I want to get smartest, you start reading 10 pages a day. And one day you're really down on yourself and you don't you don't feel like you're getting any smarter. Like, I'm an idiot. I'm still an idiot, and I've done that with myself before, like full clarity. I've been there where it's like I'm bad at everything all the time and I've never done anything good in my life. Like sometimes we get down ourselves because, and this goes back to something that I think this has come up like 2 or 3 times. It's weird how many times this has come up because it really shouldn't, right? And that's like, we can't really comprehend these large things, you know? If I tell you to do a week-long challenge, yeah, it's so easy to keep track of that. But like, if you're just like living and existing and trying to get better at things, you know, whether that's personal, whether that's financial, whatever it may be, oftentimes you won't be able to track these things, and you just got to kind of feel it out. And that's really hard to do, because like, the second the doubt creeps in, you have nothing to fend it off, you know? Like, it's almost like you get imposter syndrome just for being a human. And that's weird, right? Like, it's a little bit of a strange thing. I think that's one of the things that like I always come back to that is like never really helps me, but I still always go to it for some reason. Is I mean, it's like, is it a quote? Maybe just like a saying of that was a crazy hand move. That saying, that was insane. I don't know why I felt the need to do all that. But of like, remember how far you've come. Like, I think that's something I see a lot, and it is true of like, you can't tell me you 2 years ago wouldn't think you're like kind of sick right now. Like, not even, maybe like you haven't done it all. Like, maybe you're like, I hope that question didn't depress anybody, because, you know, sometimes you lose your path a little bit, which is completely fine. You know, of course, it's all about getting back on it. But, like, more so in terms of, like, if you asked me 2 years ago to imagine me right now, it would not have been this. And, like, even if myself personally, if I'm just speaking to myself, I think the me 2 years ago imagined something a little bit cooler than this, if I'm being real with you all. Like, not that I think this is bad where I'm at, just in terms of, like, I think 2 years ago I had some unrealistic expectations for myself. But even with that, even with those unrealistic expectations, I think me 2 years ago would still, you know, either, maybe it's not so much seeing you, but having a conversation with you, you know? Like, you have, no matter what, come so far. I know I have. I didn't accomplish everything I thought I would in 2 years, because, you know, I was an idiot 2 years ago. But, like, I still am, like, an insane person compared to me in, oh my God, with that March of 2023? Like, that's insane. That wasn't a real human back then, you know? And I think, like, it's so important to remember these things of, like, even if it feels like you haven't progressed, even if you're sitting there one day, like, man, like, I'm bad at this life thing, a place I've definitely found myself in before, it's so important to just get back up and be like, no, like, I'm still doing the thing way better than I could, you know? There's this video I saw once of a guy who was talking about, like, his struggle with depression, all that. It was a very powerful video. Definitely one of the most powerful I've ever seen on YouTube. It really stuck with me. And he dropped a line in there that I thought was so fucking good. He went, no matter what, through all my bad days, I've had 100% success rate because I'm still here. I love that shit. I think that's so good because it's so true. Like, even if you are, like, doing so bad right now with your, you know, progressing, or, you know, just, like, living in general, you're, like, not liking the trajectory of things, you could lay in bed the next month and just wallow. You're still a success because you're still here. Like, you're still in the game. You know what I mean? You're still, like, you haven't quit, and, like, you haven't thrown in the towel. You know, no matter how hard it felt like to hang on to it, you're still, like, in the race, you know? Metaphorically, of course. I hate when people refer to life as a game or a race. But I mean, like, I think that's the best way to do it when talking about a topic like this. You know, because there's still opportunity. As long as you are alive, there is infinite possibility for your life. Like, there really is. I think that's the craziest thing ever. Like, there genuinely is infinite potential within each and every one of us. And, like, not even on some really corny, like, David Goggins, like, you can run that 100 miles. In terms of, like, look at how many people have made their life the most insane thing ever. You can do that. You can fuck up the next month, next year, the next 2 years, the next 10 years. You can still end up surpassing everybody you know and being the best person and actualizing that life that you have in your head that maybe it feels impossible right now. Like, it will happen as long as you're staying in the game, as long as you're doing that. And I think it's so cool because you having that lack of action, of doing nothing, of just staying around, makes you a success more than anything else. You know, the hardest step to it all is already complete, you know? And I think that's why it's so important to remember that progress, no progress, slight progress, invisible progress, it's all real and it's all so important. You've never felt the earth move in your life, but it's spun around the sun like 20 to 30 times right now based on my YouTube demographics. And like, that's so important to remember, you know? Everything's gonna work out because it's working out right now. You just can't see it. And yeah, that's all. I mean, I don't know why that turned into a motivational talk. I was more so coming here to have like an in-depth conversation about how like progress works or whatever. But that was kind of bullshit. I think, you know, I think I said my piece in a better way because it was the same message, you know? So I hear wind outside right now and it sounds like somebody's yelling, but it's just wind. That made me seem insane. That was a solid thing in there to make me seem insane. The painting is done. I'm just finishing up this one square. I wanted to do, so I did the same thing as yesterday where I was like, let's pick a color palette and go all in on it. And I wanted to pick the colors that remind me, that are like what I envision my future in. I did this once before. I didn't nail it back then. This is closer. You know, when I see myself in the future, I envision it in certain colors for some reason. This is really close to how I see it. So I'm getting closer, and I think it's nice. Like, above all, I think this is cool. I think this is fun. I think this is good, and all those other things. So go check it out over on the Instagram, see it from multiple angles. Got some nice texture today, guys. So go check it out on the Instagram. Got some nice texture over on the brown over there. That's really important. So yeah, until tomorrow, guys, gals, and pals, my name is Max Seiss. This has been Paint and Talk episode 72. I'm here every morning painting and talking with you all. 72. So insane. So insane.